Cup racing tonight. We got K Taddy in the building. We got NoCo. We've got Puddin. And I just blue screened like an idiot. Uh, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna talk a little bit about this Cup Series that's going on. Get some playoff
Got Robbie
drivers in here,
Bates.
and Robbie's in here with us, and we're gonna try and get last night's winner in here and see if we can get some stuff going. But let's start off with NoCo, man. What are you looking forward to tonight, man? And how's your week been?
Well, it's been, it's definitely been a really good week. I feel like the team in general is clicking on all cylinders, and I don't know, man. I'm just so thankful and fortunate to be able to be in this position, and I feel like it's gonna be a really good night of racing, and we got two drivers going home, and I don't know, man. It's just been really good. It's been fun to watch all the racing over the week, and we've had we've had some issues on track, but of course that's gonna happen, and we're gonna get that all sorted out. But tonight's gonna be interesting, guys.
Well, we
Yeah, we're going to do some left turns, right turns, and we're going to big mile and a half. The Roval, always a tricky road course, guys.
tough track.
A lot of
Definitely.
excitement though.
Very,
With like you
very
said, we get all
technical.
10. Go ahead.
It's a very technical track. I feel like the driver that makes the least amount of mistakes is going to come out the winner at the Roval. In the end, I mean, you could blow a chicane or get off track and get a penalty, and I mean, it really could cost you a ton of track position. So, gonna really see guys trying to be vigilant going through the corners and making sure they're hitting their marks, and maybe not overdriving it as much as you would see in like a public lobby. I would hope.
Definitely my least favorite track.
Of road courses, I don't mind it. I got one more in mind that I don't care for. But once again, we got Kate Taddy up here. Give us a little bit more what NoCo just said, but give us a rundown of how the elimination is going to work. We got all 10 guys in tonight, right? And then we're going to go
No,
8 to
sir.
6 and 4 to 2.
Actually, we're already down to 8 drivers
8,
now.
excuse
We
me. Go ahead.
started
Go ahead.
we started the playoffs off with 12 drivers originally going into last week. 4 were eliminated. Unfortunately, some of those guys were not there. Everybody knows the Trout scenario by now. He's one of the guys that made the playoffs but was eliminated, which he was one of the top 3 drivers. Continuing on, tonight there's 8 drivers entering the playoffs, or continuing on in the playoffs. 2 will be eliminated after both races are over. Next week we will go from a 6-car playoff field down to 4 after the 2 races are over. And then championship night, still 2 races will be there. After the first race, we will take 4 drivers and turn it into 3. And going into our finale, whoever finishes best out of those 3 drivers on track, not in the stages, but at the very end of the race, will be crowned your Season 3 Custom Cup Giggity Racing League champion.
Is there a list of tracks to come for those races? Do you know yet?
Oh yeah, of course there's a list. Let me just pull it up here.
Robbie, you're pretty silent over there. How you feeling tonight, man?
Real quick, our schedule remaining. We have the Roval in Texas tonight. That will get us down to 6. Next week we have Talladega and Iowa. Will get us down to 4. And then we go to Kansas. 1 driver will be eliminated, and Homestead Miami Speedway will be our finals to see who is crowned our champion.
Wow, there's some pretty competitive tracks coming.
I'm definitely looking forward to Iowa and Homestead, man. Iowa's a track that you guys can run 3, 4 different lanes, and you can definitely save tires, eat tires, do whatever it takes, man. Iowa's going to be a really fun track for the playoffs.
We've seen such great racing all year long, whether it be custom or slider. Some of you guys prefer slider, some of you guys prefer default. I know Robbie, Art, K-Taddy, NoCo, myself, we all have our own likes and dislikes at that stuff, and everybody has their strengths and weaknesses too. So with the weeks coming, we keep saying it every week, Arch, Robbie, NoCo, Taddy, intensity. The points mean so much to these guys. Bumpers get to be a little bit more of a factor. Tempers might flare a little bit, but when things come down to brass tacks and bronze air medals, I mean, you guys got to be able to put your cars where they need to be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. We all know how these races can play out. It's not necessarily the fastest car that's going to win the race, but I feel like, and I've preached it over and over again, it's the driver that makes the least amount of mistakes in the race and positions himself at the end is more than likely the guy that's going to win them. I mean, it's just what we've seen in the past, and it's just been a proven formula for success. I mean, some limit mistakes and make sure you have it dialed in and try to keep those emotions in check, because the further you go into the playoffs, the more you can start to let things slip away, and you don't even realize it's slipping away from you until you're making something happen that shouldn't be made, and at that point you could just take somebody else out, and nobody wants to do that.
Well, and
Yeah,
I definitely
actually,
think we had an example of that last week.
Yeah, I was going to say 100% to go with what Noko just said. Last week the 12 drivers and a couple guys weren't there. If you made 4 or 5 mistakes, you could probably still advance, especially with some of the playoff points entering. This week, it's real tight knit from, I think, 2nd through 12th in points is all within just a handful of points. I just posted it.
I'm pretty sure during the race last week I updated. I think 2nd through 5th were all separated by 1 point each, so it was only a 5-point gap between them.
Entering tonight from 2nd all the way to 8th is a 12-point difference. That's it. But from 3rd to 8th is only 5 points. So any little thing here, you could get busted out. But you could probably get away with a few mistakes. There's only 10 of us, so again, like Noko said, to minimize your mistakes, you can probably advance. But as we get into next week, making it down to the final 4, if you probably make one mistake, you might get eliminated over it. As the caliber of drivers in our custom cup series it's remarkable. Drivers like Noko dominating each week. If you're up there with him and you snag that wall, you're going to lose a tenth, a couple tenths, and those couple tenths, if you do that every now and then, turns into 2, 3, 5 seconds on the track. So there's no real bouncing back from just simply touching the wall on an exit of a corner or something. You got to minimize those mistakes.
Sometimes an accident can happen, and the fate of your destiny relies in another driver. And we saw that in practice in the Xfinity playoffs with Robbie Vids here. How was that for you, Robbie? You didn't lag out. You said you had a phone call you had to take. How nerve-wracking was that for you? How nerve-wracked were you, though, knowing that your fate relied on somebody else's hands, especially if somebody makes a wreck or something like that, or if they lag out. But how did that make you feel, Robbie?
Well, I was quite nervous, actually, and it's fair to say, tuned by fingernails all the way down to the bones. But, yeah, I'm glad I'm still in the playoffs. Unlucky to Cards fans, such a good driver, but I am so glad that I managed to stay in. But tonight's races, Charlotte, Roval, Texas, we're talking about people making mistakes, catching the wall. You talk about Charlotte, Roval, if you clip that curb wrong, people are going to catch up on you, you're going to lose some time, and if you're running side by side, you're at a risk of not only wrecking yourself but somebody else. And then you got Texas, you got that tricky turn 4, if you ain't got running tight and you're running loose, you could slide into that wall and probably take somebody with you. So it's definitely going to be some interesting racing tonight, and I'm buzzing for tonight. I can't wait to watch. I really, really can't. And good luck to all the guys.
Definitely, you hit it on the head, Robbie. I mean, especially with damage playing a factor in the race, you want to keep the car as clean as possible through the stages. And,
Very true.
That just comes down to maybe holding a little bit back. I know I do that myself. I don't try to show my full hand during a race, and I'll hold a little bit back. I try to get that other guy to wear his stuff out, and then I'll drive away. So it just takes patience to not try to run 100% every lap, and then you have to be trustworthy of that other driver to not basically destroy you, or if they are trying to make a pass on you, not to try to push you up the track. And it can be very, very nerve-wracking, especially when the stakes are so high and everybody's trying to fight for position, and they all want to get to that final 3, man, and that's the goal. And there's only 3 drivers that are going to make it, and there's going to be 5 others that are going to be disappointed. So
now, of the 2 guys competing tonight in the points that are in with us, obviously K-Taddy and Noko, I think I've already got a good feeling on what you guys' answer is going to be here. But Robbie brings up a very valid point, that tricky turn 4, if you're not careful at Texas. But of the 2 tracks, which do you guys feel that you guys will be most proficient at tonight?
I'm going to be good at both. I'm hitting a 116.8 at the Roval, and I can hit 117.3s and 5s pretty consistently. So we got the Roval dialed in. I got a long run set up for Texas. trimmed back a little bit on the speed, but I feel like it's going to be very competitive, especially midway through the run, towards the end of the run. And I don't know, I'm just really excited. I can't wait to get out on the track, see what everybody else has. I know Taddy would look pretty good at Texas. I know a lot of other drivers are going to be looking really good at Texas. I don't know much about the Roval. I know my teammate Wicked. He's going to be right there at the Roval for sure. He's really strong tonight, so he's going to be a driver to watch as well.
Well, just remember if the sorry, Tate, just quickly, just remember if your emotions get high, you and Wicked both, just turn that light on. That's all you got to do. Just turn the light on.
You're right. You liked that, didn't you? I try to hype you up, man. Give you that pep talk and get you guys rolling. And you know, a good example was last week at Vegas when it was me, Smitty, Buck, and Wicked all battling for the lead. I was trying to pump those guys up, like, come on, guys, get around him. Let's do this. Let's line up. Let's go. And it was funny because I went back and watched the broadcast, and I don't know if Robbie's a mind reader, but he said exactly in the broadcast what I was telling them in the chat. So I don't know if he has a secret microphone somewhere in our chat listening to everything, but I mean, he called it perfectly, and that's what you call good team chemistry. You know, when you can see something with the same eyes that your captain or your teammate can see, which, you know, it's really cool. It's good to have that chemistry.
Yeah, that's definitely great minds think alike. And over to you, Tay.
Yeah, so to the question Glenn asked about which track am I probably going to be looking forward to or be good at, the answer is probably neither. I don't set my car. Well, I mean, I don't set my car up quite the same to be up front leading the whole race. I've never done that. I try focusing more on the overall run. Not necessarily the quickest, not necessarily the slowest. I try to focus on the handling of the car throughout the whole entire run and try to make sure. I've done this all season. I've done it in every season that we've had. I just try to be consistent and hit my marks a little on like Noko, where Noko said, you know, he'll try to make others use up their stuff, and then he'll try to pull away from them by saving his own. I don't worry about the other cars so much at all. If I see a guy in front of me that's getting loose on exit or he's struggling on this corner instead of that corner, I give them room to make their mistake, and then I'll try to capitalize on it. But more than anything, I focus on hitting my own marks lap after lap.
That's great intel right there. I have a quick question for you, but beforehand, let's take a 1 second break and promote ourselves. If anybody's out there listening, we would like to invite a new guy out there, Dale Fan. Once again, wants to know how he gets into Giggity. K-Taddy got him in there. If you guys think what you got talent, you guys want to come race with everybody here in Giggity, you have two very strong team captains and administrators, 3 team captains included actually, in this conversation. Be more than happy to get a hold of any of us, and we'll get you in, because every day I get on, I race somebody, they say, hey, we know you're affiliated, how do I do this? Okay, Taddy, I don't know how many times I've sent you messages, talk to this guy, so, but anybody else, come join us, man. We'd love to have you. We got development series. Work your way on up from there. That's how we do things. Next season, things are going to change a little bit, but it's going to be for the better. Every year, this league keeps getting better and better with everybody's great ideas. Our administrators, especially our team captains. Thank you guys for what you do to put this on. Thank you, Archangel, for doing this roundtable stuff. But guys, I can't say it enough, and I'm excited for it. I like seeing the Roval. I like driving it. I'm not a fan of it, but I'm excited to see you guys out there tonight.
It's a track that's going to definitely test not only your patience, your will, but your consistency. And
that's the word I was going to say earlier when you brought up I didn't mean to interrupt, but consistency. Go ahead.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, it's definitely going to test the depths of you as a driver, and you know, it's going to be fun. It really is. I'm excited for it. I'm glad it's at this point in the season. It was placed in a good position in the season, and it's just going to really test the drivers. Another test for us this week.
Yeah, so Noko has a different idea of what fun is than what I do, but go ahead and continue there, Noko.
You know, I'm just so proud of the league. I'm just reading these comments. We got 11 viewers now, and we just really appreciate your guys' support through this pre-race show. And you know, definitely everybody that's listening, we're going to continue these segments with the roundtable, and I'm going to get all you guys in here. I want to get as many drivers as I can in this discussion, in the booth. I want to interview you guys. I want to hear your stories. I want to know how you guys feel about the Giggity Racing League community and your season in general, how it's gone. You know, I mean, we got a great community. And there's some drivers right now that are going through some struggles. And for us to band together the way we did with other leagues in this community, it's just a testament to the NASCAR Heat 4 community on the PlayStation console in general. It's just everybody. It's like a brotherhood, man. And I'm just so proud of all you guys. I'm so thankful that all you guys have been here and been loyal with us. And I know Taddy, he has a tough task, man. He has a lot on his plate, and whenever I can try to help him out in any way I can, and same with Robbie and all the other admins, we do what we can for him. And at the end of the day, if there's a disagreement or whatnot, we still band together, we get things fixed, and then we move forward. And that's the way it should be all the time. Nobody should hold grudges with anybody. I mean, because we're all here to have fun, and this is you make it fun. This is your league. I mean, it's not one person, it's everyone that makes this league. And I'm just so thankful for all the viewers, and I just want you guys to really support this, and get in the comment section. We're going to answer comments. I want to do questions, Q&As with the drivers, and this can be really cool, and it's going to continue every week.
Real quick on that note, talking about Giggity, I want to shout out there. Noco said that there's a lot on my plate, and he's right. I put in a lot of hours into this league. I try to make not just myself, but myself and the admins, and try to make the best overall experience for everyone involved, and including, but not limited to the drivers. I'm talking fans. I'm talking, family members of the drivers. Everybody should be able to have a good time. Get on here, watch our broadcast, cheer for your guys, do all that. But keep in mind that this is non-profit to any of the admins here. We're not getting paid to get out here and do this. We're simply doing this for you guys. After a race is over, I might have 10 people come to me and complain about something that had happened on the track, and we try to deal with that. But at the same time,
on top of your daily life, you got work and a family too, and you still take the time to do that.
Yeah, and on top of that, though, so if I get 10 people coming to me and they're complaining, like that's the tough part of the job, and breaking down and penalizing people, that's tough. But here's what makes it worthwhile for me. Out of those 10 that complained, one guy that might have been running in the back but passed 4 or 5 people at the end tells me how much of a blast he had, and it's the best time he's ever had in a league. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm doing it. I like hearing that. I don't care what your skill level is. If you just started, like you just bought the game yesterday and tonight's your first night racing, or if you've been on Heat racing games since they come out and you're a pro league caliber driver, one time hearing somebody cahoots it and say, hey, I had a blast last night, thank you for what you're doing, that's what I'm here for. That's what this league has been started, and that's why we do that.
Exactly. If it's like that, then it's a total success. I mean, that's what everybody's looking for. We all want to have fun. We all want to be competitive at the same time. But, when situations arise, we just have to have that same respect level for everybody and understand that maybe certain people might have just accidentally made a mistake, and, things can happen. And Taddy has a lot to deal with on a daily basis. I know this because I'm in that chat with him. I know what goes on there. It's a lot. It's a lot to handle. I could only imagine how many private messages he gets daily. So it's just a testament to the league. And like he said, we all work 40-hour plus a week jobs. We all have families. So for us to be able to put the best product out there that we're doing right now and not living on this game on a 24-hour basis really shows you that, we're trying our best to show the PS4 community that we are one of the top leagues on PlayStation.
Well, it's like you guys said, it's a community effort, man. And for the guys that have been stepping up trying to help spread this broadcast, that's one of the reasons I'm doing I begged Taddy to let me start doing this roundtable. I wanted us to be able to get more exposure and for people to get in here and be able to do exactly what we're doing right now, talking, asking questions, getting views. And I'm, like I said earlier, we were in a public lobby just a little bit ago, and I told everybody, I said, man, if you want to become a better driver, this is where you come. I mean, we'll help anybody out. You're always in the team chats, the captains, everybody's always trying to give advice. We want the best racing possible, and we want the best experience for you guys. So whatever we can do to help you as a driver, that's what we're willing to do. And that's the amazing thing about Giggity. It's not every driver for themselves. It's a family, it's a community, and it's a team, dude. And we want to put on the best show possible.
I want to get back to tonight's events, but before we do that, I just want to shout out some of the guys in the comments. Mills, man, it's good to see you in here. Appreciate you, Blakey, RJ Smitty,
what up,
another
Mills?
captain.
Buck,
Blakey, drink
what's up, Buck?
Coco, Money Mike, my boy, my driver. Good to see you, man. And it's really good to see you. Woodruff, man, thanks, man. Teddy's going to have a good night tonight, definitely. Buck, man, good to see you, boy. Hopefully you'll do good tonight. No mistakes, right? I hope not, or you're fired. I'm just kidding. But, previewing tonight's races, guys. Like we said, 2 go home. There's 3 people on the bottom that have no playoff points. If you're gonna pick, who are those 2 that you think are not gonna be in that discussion at the end of tonight's races?
I think there could be so many because of the Roval being that plan B. You know what I'm saying? That aspect, a lot of people like, a lot of people don't. One good turn can make a difference. One bad turn, you hit that turtle, you get a penalty. You let the car behind you ahead of you, that's points. The guy behind you was ahead of you, you just gave him more points. So I think Texas is going to give us a way better aspect at the end of it. I do think that the Roval, is going to play a beneficiary in this race tonight, guys.
Yeah, actually, on top of that, there's another loophole here. We do have 2 drivers that are going to be racing that are not in the playoffs. How are their cars going to handle? How are they going to make these corners? How are the playoff drivers going to race those guys? And in retaliation, how are those guys going to race the playoff guys? There's a lot of things that could happen that, like you said earlier, Puddin, might not be to any fault of their own. But I know that there's a 12-point gap from 2nd to 8th. And in order for that guy in 8th to surpass that guy in 2nd, you need stage points. You need to finish a couple points ahead. 12 points sounds like a lot. When each position is only worth 1. But if you beat somebody by 2 spots in each stage and finishing position, that's 6 per race and 6 per the second race. You're tied with the guy that was in the second in points by simply beating him by 2 cars in each stage and finish.
I have a question for K-Taddy, Noko, and Robbie. Robbie, you're an Xfinity, but you do customs. K-Taddy, Noko, obviously some of our top contenders in Cup Custom. Going into a custom race, we talk about this in the broadcast sometimes. We don't know exactly how much time is invested. You don't have to give us all your secrets, but truly, for each particular track, you have 2 tracks tonight. How much time is invested in a custom setup at each track to get it right where you want, for either it be a short run or a long run, or just to get it where you guys want it? We'll start off with K-Taddy, and then we'll go to Noko, and then we'll go to Robbie, so no one's talking over each other. But I'm curious.
There is no timetable to answer your question. Sometimes you can throw a setup in and hit it right on the head, and it's comfortable. But even after these races are over tonight, the Roval and Texas, I feel comfortable with both my setups entering the races. But even when they're over, if I get out there and somebody's beating me by a 10th, I'm going to work on it, try to figure out how to pick up that 10th. And even if I'm beating the rest of the field by a 10th, I want to get back out there and make it 2 tenths. I'm faster than everybody. So, you're not talking about just a couple hours. You're talking about an indefinite amount of time. Until Heat 5 comes out, I'll be working on these same setups that you're seeing me race tonight.
Nice.
Before you start, Noko,
no.
To add on to your question, how much do you look for stability in your car or lap times? Because I know coming into these custom events, when you're setting up your car like that, I prefer to go with comfortability over the long run. I feel like that makes me faster. Are you striving for lap times when you're doing your practices, or?
Great question.
It's all about stability. Lap time means nothing in a race. It really does. If you can be the driver that can outlast everybody else on the track, you've already gained the upper hand. So I don't trim the car out for speed as much as I do stability. Of course, you have to have the best of both worlds. So you got to make sure you have the right gear ratio with the right setup, because that is what it all comes down to. You can have the perfect setup, but once you have the wrong gear in it, it's going to drive completely different than it would as if you might have changed the final drive 1 click up or 2 clicks up, or went different gearing. And a lot of the setup has to do with gearing, honestly, because that's going to cause heat in those rear tires. Obviously, the amount of RPM the car runs, that's really what dictates and affects the car itself. So I don't necessarily go for as much speed as I do stability. I'm not running a qualifying race. I'm running it's not a sprint for me, it's a marathon.
Yeah.
And I love how you brought that point up. Rear gear is an issue. People who don't know what they're doing put the wrong rear gear in. and next thing you know, they're going down the straightaway at 50 mile an hour on the red line, but they can get the 50 mile an hour in a blink of an eye. You know, people, you got to be careful with that, and I agree with you a lot on that. The suspension is a great deal, but a rear gear is a big factor.
Absolutely, it's gonna depend on whether your car is gonna pull well down the straightaway or whether your car is gonna draft well with others. So I mean, you have to have the best of both worlds. And in Heat 4, it's been tough to figure out. But I mean, I feel our garage has been slowly getting a handle on the new rule package that we've gotten since Heat 3 to Heat 4, and we've been putting out pretty good equipment as of late. And I mean, throughout the whole season, we've been pretty good. But I feel like now we're really starting to hit our stride. You know. And it's definitely showing up on the track. So we're just gonna, keep the momentum going. And it's tough competition out there, and you got to lay it all on the line and let the chips fall where they fall.
Robbie, how about you tonight, buddy? Let's get a word with you real quick before we end tonight's broadcast.
For me, I'd spend about 2 to 4 hours on the setup. I'll put it in for speed, and then I'll start working on my stability afterwards. And what I do, I pull it a few tenths off, maybe a bit more, and then I get my stability down, because then when I've got my stability, I know I've got consistency, and as you all know, I can be consistent as long as I can stay out of those few mistakes that other drivers make. I mean, a lot of drivers that quickly pop onto YouTube and put a setup in, but that can be a mistake, because that setup that you pull in, that can just be a hot lap setup. So just make sure you're working on your setups for 2 to 3 hours, and make sure you got your stuff dialed in before you take it out onto the track.
Those kind of go hand in hand, don't they? I mean, you tend to build speed and times as you get a comfortability with your car. I mean, longevity-wise, the more laps you put in, the more seat time, it feels more comfortable to you, and your lap times eventually improve.
Yeah, I mean, because I could be running loose this is how I do it. So I go into quick race, and then I run it loose, and then I start working on my springs and my track bars to make it stable. And then after I'm still running stable, after about 10 laps on 3 to 4 tyre wear, then I know I've got myself a good setup, and then I start looking at my times and taking it from there.
Alright, cool. That sounds perfect, man. Well, that's something that we're definitely going to have to watch out for tonight, and see the consistency of some guys, and watch out where guys are making mistakes and where they could actually gain some time. What are your guys' picks for tonight? Who do you pick to win, and who do you pick to go home? And let's start with K-Taddy on this one.
Ooh, to say who's going to go home, man, it's like Noko said, and putting together what you guys' answers were earlier. Whoever makes the least amount of mistakes, and I mean, basically anyone from second on through is the least amount of mistakes. Who I expect to win, between the two tracks, I have two winners, and this is not necessarily in either order. I expect Noko to get one of the two wins, and somebody that's been really improving and showing his name out there lately, Mills Nation. I think he's definitely somebody to look out for as a possible winner here tonight.
All right, Robbie?
I reckon Noko's going to take a win tonight. I reckon he's going to get his win at Texas, and for the road course, I'm going to have to go with Buck Racing. I reckon he's going to pull it out of the bag tonight, and he's going to surprise all of us.
Hey, that would definitely be nice to see. Buck's definitely been putting in the work. Puddin', who's your picks to win tonight?
I'm definitely not kissing anybody's rear end in this party. I do expect Noko to get one today. I don't know which one, and I'm also going to go with K-Taddy. We had a little pre-race conversation earlier. We messaged back and forth. He's been putting work in. He's been putting his practice in, changing his game plan a little bit. So K-Taddy, I expect you to get one. But if I had a dark horse, my dark horse, and I don't mean to be any disrespectful, but the name was already brought up, my man Mills. So I expect any one of those three to take one of these two.
All right, definitely. Well, we're going to send it over to Noko as we're going to get ready to shut down this broadcast, and we hope that you guys will join back with us here in just a little bit for tonight's Cup Series race, man. And it was fun being with you guys up here.
Awesome, always. Thanks for having us. Great racing. I can't wait to watch this stuff tonight, man.
No problem. Good luck, you guys.
For my picks, I'm definitely at the Roval. It's going to be tough, but I think my teammate's going to get it done tonight. Wicked Gatekeeper, he's going to move on to the next round in dominating fashion at the Roval. And for Texas, I believe Mills Nation has a good shot at winning that race. And you know, and as far as the playoff drivers go, the bubble drivers, I'm looking at those bottom three with no playoff points right now. Those guys have the most heat on them. They're going to have good stages, 2 perfect races in order to have their shot to advance. So my picks for drivers that will be getting eliminated tonight, I would have to pick Checkmate Taylor and go with the flow as the 2 drivers to get eliminated. But drivers are getting ready to strap in the cars, guys. The engines are going to be fired soon. We're going to get qualifying going. But we really do appreciate everybody that has commented in the comment section for the roundtable tonight for the pre-race show, brought to you by Giggity Racing League. And we can't wait to see you guys after the race.
Definitely. You guys have a good time, man. Y'all be safe. We'll talk to you guys soon.